Hey musicians, today we're going to talk about what makes a good melody. The rules that govern good melodies are never hard and fast, and they're broken all the time, and you can find examples of things that actually work, but they're by people who have created a craft and understand things. When you're first starting out, you need to keep it simple. There are certain things that you want to do and need to do to make sure that not only does the melody sound good, but it's singable. That's always important, and it's playable. Okay, and there's ways to make them not so singable and not so playable. So here's a little instruction sheet that I found years ago, and I wanted to kind of share it with you. Okay, so I'm just going to read through this and kind of explain things. Introduction. Although sometimes thought to be intuitive and therefore intangible, melody writing is in large part a craft, a skill. Okay. Some long-held rules are applied to melody. For example, having clear shape and a single high point. Now, these are just, like I said, these are going to be just some certain rules. And if you really study melodies, you can see how doesn't necessarily always, follow this. And when it says, a clear shape and a single high point. High point doesn't necessarily mean in range; could also mean in volume. There's lots of different ways to create a quote-unquote high point. Going on, melodic context. Melodies in the common practice era are made up of two elements, scales and arpeggios. That's pretty true actually in most practices. Okay, scales may be of any length, and arpeggios may outline any chord. Remember, arpeggio is just a broken chord. You know, you play a bunch of notes together, and then instead of playing them all at the same time, you play them individually. Motion in one direction by leap or step is usually balanced by motion in the opposite direction. Uh, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but it's talking about basically that if you jump somewhere, so let's just say, let's look at Star Wars as a melody. And if you listen to the first two notes, bom, bom, then it comes ba, ba, bom, goes up, then comes down, or la, ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, Hall of the Mountain King, or somewhere over the rainbow. There's an octave, then it comes away from that. So you have this large leap, then you go away from it. Okay, so that's a pretty hard and fast rule. Although it can be broken, you just have to really make sure you know what you're doing. Good melodies are unified and balanced. Okay, they use few elements, and no notes, intervals, or rhythms should be unique to only one part of the melody. Now, again, you can find lots of examples that this is not true. But for now, let's just leave it at that, okay? Good melodies have moments of motion and moments of relaxation, cadences, and I'm going to show you a melody here, and I'll tell you a little bit about what cadence is, although we'll get into those later. And good melodies show a clear direction. In other words, they follow a line. They move forward, okay? Melodies often fail if they are static around one or two notes. In other words, you can hear, and I've heard songs recently where the person just sings one note, but what's interesting about that one note is that whatever's going on in the background is really interesting. Or you wouldn't sing a melody la da 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 da. Not really interesting, right? You lose your interest really quick. Uh, Melodies often fail if they contain large unresolved leaps. Immediately stepping in the opposite direction of the leap resolves it, like Star Wars. Ba da, la da 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 da. You really want to, sorry for the crack, you really want to resolve that, okay? Melodies often fail if they have consecutive large leaps that make the line too angular. In other words, ba 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 beep ba ba beep ba 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 beep ba. That's not really a melody. It's kind of kind of a fun little motif that you would actually create a melody above that. Melodies often fail if they have one or more elements that seem to be unrelated to the rest. Again, we're talking about, if you have half the melody is legato and half the melody is staccato. It works if you know what you're doing. Mainly, that works if you um, if you change, you know, I guess if you change the way those notes are played. Okay, so anyway, so that's right now. I mean, we're not going to go into melody versus theme and the motive, so that will go into later things. All right, so let's take a look at this little example that I wrote. Okay, nothing big. I used the 5 rhythms and the 5 notes I had given you. Okay, so I'm just going to play this for you. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Okay, hopefully, like I said, you got to hear that. So you notice I started here, I went way up, then came down from it, okay, and then just followed the scale down, going up, there's scalar motion. Again, just keeping scalar motion. When I go up, I come back down. You notice that I ended this note here on a D, not on a C, okay, which created an unfinished sound because I'm not done with the tune, right? If I would have played this measure here at the bottom right there, it would have created what we call a finished sound or a cadence sound. This is a cadence, but it's an unfinished cadence, okay? It's an incomplete cadence, where this is what we call an authentic cadence or a complete cadence, all right? And then notice I repeated some of the same stuff to make something familiar, and then I changed it just slightly, trying to follow things up. So if you notice, it does have this flow to it. It's playable, it's singable, okay, which always makes a good melody important, and you can actually hear what it is. Okay, so anyway, I hope this helps. So as you are creating your melody, think about that. You need to start and stop on the tonic. Okay, so make sure you do that. I know down here it said start on the tonic or the C. The tonic's the first note of the scale. Make sure you end on it too, otherwise it will not sound correct. Although you could end on the third or the fifth, but right now just end on the tonic. And remember, it's only 8 measures long. Last measure must be this measure right here because that's what we call a cadential rhythm, or at least that's what I created it to be. And then, yeah. So again, hopefully that's helpful, and we'll hopefully hear